We're going to start with the reading of the law. Exodus chapter 20. Go ahead, bro.
Okay. The book of Exodus, chapter 20, starting in verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other powers before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Most High thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquities of the father upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Most High thy power in vain, for the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thy labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Most High thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested on the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Amen.
All praises.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
All right. The title of today's lesson, Understanding Marriage, the Seventh Commandment, Thou shalt not commit adultery. To understand this commandment, we must understand what marriage is according to the Most High. In today's world, we get the Most High's law confused with the laws of the land. We get the Most High's laws confused with the laws of the land. We don't really understand what marriage is. We know what the world says marriage is, but what does the Most High say what marriage is? First scripture, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 2. Verse 21 through 24.
There's a con. The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verses 21 through 24. And the Most High power caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Most High had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
In verse 24, it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. As we see that marriage was instituted in the beginning, in the creation. This is still during the creation time. So let's go to Matthew chapter 19, verse 4 through 6. And we're going to hear what the Messiah has to say.
When you there say Khan? The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verses 4 through 6. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh? Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the Most High hath joined together, let not man put asunder.
So it says, let not man put us under. Meaning man can't tear it apart. But let's get more of an understanding about marriage. Let's go to Genesis 29 and 15. And we're going to read all the way through 28.
You there say Khan? The book of Genesis, chapter 29, verses 15 through 28. And Laban said unto Jacob, because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban had said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man.
Hold up right there. As you see, they're making an agreement. There's a covenant being made. Go ahead.
Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel. And they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast.
Hold on right there. And Jacob said unto Laban, this is verse 21. Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife. Said, give me my wife. For my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. So they made an agreement. Once they made that agreement, she became his wife. Now here's the other part of the marriage.
Verse 23. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for a handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me?
Okay, so now you see that Jacob served for Rachel, but Laban tricked him, and he brought in Leah to the bride chamber. Okay, and so this is how how the Israelite marriage works, right? You have the engagement. That's step one of the marriage. Then you have the consummation. That's step two. That's part two, right? So as you see, they made the agreement. That was step one. He made the agreement with the father. So now Rachel is his wife. But now step two, he didn't consummate with Rachel. He ended up consummating with Leah. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week. And he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to wife also.
So as we see, Jacob did not have the oath to marry Leah, but he ended up marrying Leah. And then he had to serve another 7 years for Rachel, who he had already served the 7 years for already. But then he ended up consummating with Rachel. So now he has 2 wives. But the first wife, he didn't want. She ended up being hated. If you keep reading the story, he hated her. She was part of the trickery. So, but as you see, he didn't put her away. He didn't say, oh, this is null and void. Why? We'll go into it here later. Let's go to Exodus chapter 22, verse 16 and 17. And you'll see, now we're about to go into the law, and what happened to Jacob, there was no law written, but it was verbal. It's a verbal law still. Now we're going into the written law. Let's go to Exodus 22, verse 16 and 17.
We need that say calm. The book of Exodus, chapter 22, verses 16 through 17. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuses to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins.
So it says, and if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed or espoused or engaged. So that means they were engaged. Or they were, and if a man entice a maid that was not engaged and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of the virgins. But let's clarify this. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28 and 29.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verses 28 through 29. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
Because he did what to her? He humbled her. He took her virginity. He took what was most precious to her, and now she becomes his wife. But it was still something that he has to do, though. He has to pay. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not espoused or engaged, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. So now he has to pay. He humbled her. He has to pay, and he has to marry that woman. Go ahead. Now we're going to jump up to verse 13.
All right. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 13 through 30. If a man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasion of against her and bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
Okay, so if a man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasion of speech against her and bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid, meaning she was out there fornicating. She was out there doing whatever she wanted to do. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel.
Hey, hold on 1 second. So in verse 18, or no, verse 16. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hated her. And lo, he hath given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found not that daughter a maid. So I found her not a virgin. Right? And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. So all this stuff was documented. It was all documented, and it was, as you see with Laban and Jacob. The documentation was the tokens of the virginity. And they all knew, hey, here's the tokens of the virginity. Here's the agreement. This is what, like Laban, I will serve 7 years for Rachel. But he broke the agreement. But she still, and married Leah, so Leah still ended up becoming his wife. And we're going to get into that some more. Go ahead.
Starting back up at verse 20. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you.
Okay. So then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. That's how serious this was. The Most High does not play when it comes down to fornication. He doesn't play when it comes down to adultery. This is serious to him. And we'll see, not this lesson, but the next lesson, how He married, the Most High is married to Israel. And all this that we're reading today will make sense, even more sense next week. But, all right, go ahead.
Verse 22. If a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lied with the woman and the woman. So shalt thou put away evil from Israel.
Okay, so that's an act of an adultery. And what happens to them? They both shall die. Go ahead.
Verse 23. If a damsel that is a virgin betrothed unto a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones, that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, and the man, because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put away evil from among you.
Start right there. So verse 23, if a damsel that is a virgin be engaged unto a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones, that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, and the man, because he has humbled his who? His neighbor's wife. So as you see, just because she was still considered another man's wife in being engaged to him, right? So that's, thou should not commit adultery. Should not humble your neighbor's wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her.
Okay, so now you're seeing what happens. Pretty much she got raped, right? So now she's out and nobody can save her. She's screaming, and there's nobody there to help her. There's nobody hear her cry, right? So now she, as soon as she goes home, she tells her dad, hey, this is what happens to me. This is what happened to me, So now there's no sin upon her. Go ahead.
Verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
So we read that. We already read this one, but we're reading it again. So if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not engaged, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife. That was without a contract. They was out there fornicating. They was out there fornicating. Somebody found out. So without the contract, still doesn't matter. You're out there fornicating, and somebody finds out what you're doing. You sneaking into the hotel, like you hiding from somebody. Now, go ahead.
Verse 30. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Exodus 20 and 14. We just read this in the law.
We there say con. The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Okay. Let's go to Leviticus 18 and 20.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 20. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her.
To defile thyself with her. So now we're getting more clarification of the law. So now you know if somebody's engaged and you come along and you sleep with that woman that's engaged, you're defiling another man's wife, even though they even came together. Vice versa. Okay? Now let's go to Proverbs chapter 6, verse 24 to 35.
There's a con. The book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verses 24 through 35. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought unto a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom, and his clothes be not burnt? Can one go upon hot coals, and his feet not be burnt? For he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her, shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief, if he steal to satisfy his whole soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul.
Read that again.
But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts.
So in verse 30, it says, men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso commits adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that does it destroys his own soul. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of his vengeance. If you steal something, you can pay sevenfold and it's going to be all right. But you mess with somebody's wife, that man's coming for vengeance. That's why they gave you the crime of passion law. You walk in on somebody and you harm them. There's a law called crime of passion. They were caught in the act. It says he will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. And this is not just for the man, this is for the woman too. Same thing. It goes both ways. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5, verse 27 through 32.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 27 through 32. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell.
Oh, we're stopping at 29.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It says, But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. You think about King David. King David saw Bathsheba taking a bath on a rooftop across from his house. And just by him seeing her, that lust came in. That lust came in, now he's coveting that man's wife. That coveting turned into him sending Uriah out to the front lines to a battle, knowing good and well that they weren't going to win. So Uriah ends up getting killed. So now he took what? The stronghold of that man. He took that man's house. This is King David. Took the man's house, his wife, his legacy. He took it all away from him because of lust, coveting, a desire. And that's why Christ says, and if the right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It's like, I used this example before a couple weeks ago. You're walking by a fence and you looking through a crack and you see somebody back there naked. So you close your left eye and you're looking through it with your right eye just to get a better look, just to get some more, just to get that thought in your mind. And then listen to what it says in verse 29. The rest of verse 29.
All right. Verse 29. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell.
Read verse 30.
Verse 30. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell.
So now it's your right hand. First it was your right eye, now it's your right hand. So what are you doing with your right hand for it to offend you? You get that thought in your mind. Now you're committing fornication. Fornication in the Greek is porn, pretty much.
Pornos.
So think about what you're doing with that right hand. committing fornication, because you got that thought in your mind. That's why Christ said, cut it off. That way you can't do what you about to do. Go ahead.
Verse 31. It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committeth adultery.
It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits adultery. Let's get the understanding of that. Now let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 24 and 1. Because we look at that word, fornication. Fornication could be fornication or adultery. But let's break it down through the law.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 24, verse 1. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house.
So that word uncleanness is H6172 from H6168. Nudity, literally, especially pudenda, or figuratively disgrace, blemish, nakedness, shame, uncleanness. So what does the law say? The law says when a man taketh a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her. So remember, what was the first marriage? The contract, right? The agreement. Now they're going in for the second part of the marriage, the consummation. But now he gets her in the room, and there's something that he don't like about her. Something about her nakedness. So her nudity, especially the pudenda, or figuratively disgrace, a blemish. So he found a blemish in her, something that he can't get over, right? Shame and uncleanness, right? Verse 2.
Verse 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is an abomination before the Most High. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Most High the power giveth thee for an inheritance.
Okay. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is the abomination before the Lord. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Most High thy power giveth thee for an inheritance. So how come you can divorce and remarry, because that's divorcing and remarrying, right? But Christ says, for the cause of, but Christ says, if you remarry, it's committing adultery. Let's read it again. Well, now, let's go to Mark chapter 10. Go to Mark chapter 10, verse 10 through 12.
The book of Mark, chapter 10, verses 10 through 12. And in the house of his disciples asked him again of the same matter. And he saith unto them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another committeth adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery.
So it's vice versa, right? So, but what did the law say? The law said, you write her a bill of divorcement, she could go and be another man's wife. But what did Christ say? If you put her away and she goes and marries another, she commits what? Adultery. So now it seems like Christ and the law is contradicting. It's not. We're going to get into it. Let's go to Matthew chapter 19. Verse 3 through 12.
The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verses 3 through 12. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh? Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the most High hath joined together, let not man put asunder. They say unto him, what did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement, and to put her away? He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so.
From the beginning, it was not so. It was never like that. Okay? So now, what did Christ say? He says unto them, Moses, because the hardness of your heart suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. So now let's go back to Deuteronomy 24 and verse 1. Because you got to remember, it was the hardening of the hearts. Well, why were their hearts hardened? That's the question.
Deuteronomy what?
Deuteronomy 24, verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 24, verse 1. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement.
Let him write her a bill of divorcement, because he found what? Some uncleanness in her. Right? But we read also in Deuteronomy where if she was not a maid, what would happen to her? She would get stoned. So let's go back to Matthew, chapter 19, verse 9.
Verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery.
Okay. So, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, right? What happens if she was fornicating before the marriage? She gets stoned, right? So now here's Christ easing that burden. If you come to her and she's not a maid and she's been fornicating, now he's telling you, don't write her no certificate of divorce. You just put her away. Because you write her a certificate of divorce and you say, oh, well, she was out there committing adultery or she was out there fornicating, they were going to stone that woman on the spot because Israel had that hate in their heart like that. Straight up. And you read it in Deuteronomy where the guy goes and says, oh, well, she wasn't a maid. And he knew at the end of the day, if they didn't find the token of virginity, say they lost it or they got burnt in the fire or something, what was going to happen to that woman? She was going to get stoned. And then guess what? He is no longer married to this woman. That's how evil Israel is. That's how evil we can be. So that's why Christ said, if it's for fornication or adultery, just put her away. Because if you put her away, guess what? She has a chance, or he has a chance to get themselves right and come back to me. But if she's stoned, just like he said with the adulterous lady, right? You without sin cast the first stone. And she was like, you don't condemn me? He was like, no, I don't condemn you either. And guess what? She became a disciple. Get it right. She had the chance to get it right. Go ahead.
Verse 10. His disciples say unto him, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. But he said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men, and there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it.
They made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake, right? So that woman was out there fornicating, doing whatever. Or she was spiritually fornicating, celebrating or worshiping other gods. Now, instead of her enticing the husband to worship other gods, put her away. Now you become a eunuch. And when you become that eunuch, and we're going to read it here when it comes to Paul, you're dedicating your whole life to the Most High. And then if he or she gets herself right, they come back. And we're going to read it in Corinthians. Her fornication, his or her fornication or spiritual adultery is not worth going to hell over. So put her away. And Paul will explain more in 1 Corinthians. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. And we're going to read through verse 11.
First Corinthians chapter 7, verses 1 through 11. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife,
Multiple wives.
his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife hath not power over of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud you not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinuancy. But I speak this by permission, and not for commandment.
Not of commandment.
Not of commandment. For I would that all men were even as I myself, but every man hath his proper gift of the Most High, one after this manner, and another after that.
Okay, so Paul is saying, for I would that all men were even as I myself. Remember the eunuch? Paul was like a eunuch. Paul spiritually was a spiritual eunuch. He made himself that way. And he's going to explain. Go ahead.
Verse 8. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn.
So it's better, he said, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. So it's better to marry than go out there and commit adultery and fornication. Because if you can't contain yourself, that's what's going to end up happening. You're going to go out there and commit adultery and fornication. And then guess what? Now you're burning. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 10. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband. And if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband. And let not the husband put away his wife.
You hear what he's saying now? He's saying, and unto the married I command, yet not I. So it's not me, it's not Paul, but it's the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband. And if she depart, let her remain unmarried. Why? Remember what Christ said? If you put her away, or she put you away, and she marries another, she commits adultery. Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 12.
Okay, hold on. That word depart comes from the Greek G5563, from G5561. To place room between, that is part. Reflexively, to go away. Depart. Put what? Asunder. Separate. Remember, whatever God joins together, can't nobody put asunder. So their separation is a separation of not divorce. It's a separation of you're worshiping another God. I'm worshiping the Most High God. I can't allow you to come over here and corrupt me. So now I have to put you away. Separation. Until you can decide to follow the Most High, then you come back. Okay? Now, verse 12.
Verse 12. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away.
But to the rest I speak, I, not the Lord. So this is Paul speaking, not God. If any brother has a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. Example. We come into the truth, but your spouse don't get it. He or she is very respectful to you in your belief. She's very respectful to the law. She knows you say, well, we're not eating pork. And she says, okay, I'm fine with that. There's no need to put her away. She might not believe everything else, but she is not going to sit there and bring some swine up in the house to trap you up. Why? Because she loves you. So she respects you. So there's no need to put her away. That's what Paul is saying. He says, but to the rest I speak. Speak I, not the Lord. If any brother has a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with them, let him not put her away. So as long as she's not getting you to sin, or vice versa, he's not getting you to sin, dwell with her. Because guess what? Through your actions, through your actions, you can win her over. Through your conversation, through your actions, through your behavior. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And the woman which hath a husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy.
So now your children, which were unclean, because once somebody in the house is keeping the law, and the other person has the respect for that, now that child's being raised under the law. So now that child is being clean. Is clean. Okay?
Verse 15. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but the Most High hath called us to peace.
So if the unbelieving depart, you're supposed to just let them depart. And you're not under bondage. You're not under servitude anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But when they depart and the Holy Spirit come to them and say, you know what? You're right. Then you accept them back in. Let's jump down to verse 25.
Verse 25. Now concerning virgins, I have no commandment of the Lord. Yet I give my judgment as one that hath obtained mercy of the Lord to be faithful. I suppose, therefore, that this is good for the present distress. I say that it is good for a man so to be. Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife? Seek not a wife.
So now he's getting into the eunuchs. Go ahead.
Verse 28. But, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you.
He says, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she has not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. He's going to go into why you're going to have trouble in the flesh. Go ahead.
Verse 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not, and they that use this world as not abusing it. For the fashion of this world passeth away. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord.
Okay, so now you're seeing what he's saying. He said, but I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried carries for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 33. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, now how he may please his wife. There is difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit. But she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband.
That's why you have difficulty in your flesh, because you got to worry about, you're not just worried about the Most High, you got to worry about other people's needs. That's the trouble in the flesh that he's talking about. Go ahead.
Verse 35. And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that you may attend upon the Lord without distraction. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age, and need to require, so let him do that what he will. He sinneth not, let them marry. Nevertheless, he that standeth steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but hath power over his own will, and hath so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, doeth well. So then, he that giveth her in marriage doth well, but he that giveth her not in marriage doeth better. The wife is bound by the law as long as her husband liveth. But if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in the Lord. But she is happier if she so abide after my judgment. And I think also that I have the Spirit of the Most High.
Okay, so now Paul just broke it down for you. He was like, if you can stay unmarried because you're going to be more willing to do the things for the Most High. So be that eunuch. So that's what Christ was saying to the disciples. Be the eunuch. If you can be the eunuch, put her away and be the eunuch. So Paul breaks it down even further. But if you can't contain yourself, you better go reconcile with your wife or your husband. So what about the world? The whole world is under fornication. The whole entire world is under fornication. The whole entire world is under adultery. There's been divorce, there's been remarrying, a little bit of everything. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16.
First Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16. What? Know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh.
What? Know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? There's harlotry going around everywhere. But now you decide, I'm going to marry this person. Now you're one flesh. Now you done came into the truth. Okay, we got to do this thing right. You know, there's been, like I said, there's been divorce, it's been harlotry, it's been all kinds of stuff going on. But once you come into the truth, hey, we got to do this thing right. It's me and you, nobody else. Let's come to an agreement. That's what it is. Okay? Now let's go to Acts chapter 17, verse 30.
The book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 30. In the times of this ignorance, the Most High winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent.
In the times of this ignorance, God winked at. In the time of our ignorance, the Most High winked at it. We didn't know. We weren't brought up in the law. So he winked at it. But now that we're learning, it's time for us to get it right. Let's go to Psalms 50 and 21.
The book of Psalms, chapter 50, verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such a one as thyself. But I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes.
He says, I will reprove these. I will correct this. And set them in order before thy eyes. Now we just got to think about David. He corrected the wrong that David did. How? Through forbearance. He destroyed David's child because David had to suffer. He had to go through some shame. But the Most High corrected. Why? Because a covenant was made. So the Most High is not slack with his word. So he made a promise to David. Just like he made a promise to all of us. The Most High will correct and set things back in order. This lesson was a lesson for us to really think about marriage, adultery, divorce, fornication. And if we know the punishment for adultery, for fornication, we're not getting stoned right now. But the latter is worse. The latter is worse. Because what do you say? You commit adultery, you're going to burn in hell. That's his words. It's not Sean's words. It's the Most High's words. So just keep that in mind. Next week, we'll go into committing adultery on the Most High. And when you commit adultery on the Most High, like I said, all this adultery that we just read about, it'll make even more sense. And you'll see how the Most High handles our fornication and our adultery. Okay? That's all I have for you today. We're the brothers of Feed My Flock Church. Like us. If you want to donate, you can donate through our YouTube channel. Through our YouTube channel on Cash App. Like us on Facebook. I said that's all I have for us today. I hope it was a blessing to you. And I hope it was clarifying. So that's all I have. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. We'll pray out.